it. Focus, right here.
Have a little drink.
Yeah, I will. Now, baby, girl, guess what's
You and me.
Always. You and me.
Olivia Wilde is a feminist hero for making a movie that basically suggests that men want to put women back in the kitchen, like it's the 1950s, etc. Well, the movie, Don't Worry, Darling, apparently, one of the stars, Chris Pine, according to Olivia Wilde, is basically playing Jordan Peterson. And he's supposed to be a cult leader who's trying to create a mental, I don't want to give any spoilers for this dumb movie, but apparently he's trying to create some sort of mental system that people live in, kind of virtual reality, whereby young men can essentially train women to be put back into the kitchen. And that's what Jordan Peterson wants.
The Victory Project. We're all here because we believe in the mission.
What are we doing?
Changing the world.
What are we doing?
Changing the world.
That's right.
What do you think they're really doing out there?
What do you mean?
The one thing they ask of us is to stay here, where it's safe.
Do you even know what the Victory Project actually is? Have you ever asked?
Do you?
Please. What's actually happening?
Stop it, Alice.
What if this place is dangerous? What if... Stop it!
No. Jack, it's okay.
And we have to be able to say what we have to say badly, or we won't be able to think at all.
The claim that the wage gap between men and women is only due to sex is wrong, and it is wrong. There's no doubt about that. The multivariate analysis have been done. Is there an attraction that's emerging among the female radicals for that totalitarian male dominance that they've chased out of the West?
We're not going backwards, we're pushing forward.
Everyone is acting like I'm crazy. And I'm not crazy.
Our life together. We could lose this.
I don't trust it. And I don't want to be here anymore.
Fight Club has been warning us. The idea of what it means to be a man is destabilizing in modern society. Recently, a lot of characters have gained renewed interest among young men, calling them literally me. By analyzing those movies that dive deeper into the psyche of men, maybe we can get a grip on why men find them so relatable and understand the so-called crisis of masculinity. What does it mean to be a man in a modern age? Okay, let's start with the most important theme in American Psycho, conformity. Because at its core, that's what this movie is all about. Patrick Bateman is living a fancy lifestyle as an investment banker on Wall Street. He's living healthy, eating a balanced diet, and doing rigorous exercise routines. Every morning, he's applying thousands of layers of beauty products to craft the perfect version of himself. Why? Because he simply wants to fit in.
I want to fit in.
Down to the haircuts, the suits, the business cards, it all shows that these men think they're individual and unique, but they aren't. However, the lyrics of the song Hip to Be Square explains that it's okay to be normal, because it's not just about the pleasures of conformity and the importance of trends, it's also a personal Alright, let's cut it there. You see, in Fight Club, they don't like conformity that much.
Gentlemen, welcome to Fight Club.
Tyler Durden is the god of masculinity, trying to break the main character free from his conformist lifestyle and boring job. The narrator is suffering from insomnia and is obsessed with creating a self-image that is socially acceptable, similar to Patrick Bateman. He doesn't really have a way to express himself in a society where everything is a copy of a copy of a copy. All he does to feel unique is turn to consumerism and buy furniture that he felt defined him best as a person. Director David Fincher said, "We're designed to be hunters and we're in a society of shopping. There's nothing to kill anymore, nothing to fight, nothing to overcome, and nothing to explore. In that societal emasculation, this everyman is created. Patrick Bateman and the narrator in Fight Club create consciously or unconsciously alter egos that allow them to exhibit their masculinity and escape a culture that no longer accepts such behavior. They're not the only two characters that have been struggling with this duality of a man. Because in Nightcrawler, Taxi Driver, and Drive, the main characters are also on the verge of frenzy. Just like Patrick Bateman's urge to fit in, both Travis Bickle and Lou Bloom are trying to fit into society by getting a regular job. But because they don't really have the premier education to fit this ideal of an office job, Travis starts working as a taxi driver late at night to deal with his insomnia. And after Lou Bloom gets rejected, he starts nightcrawling as well, and finds a way to make money out of filming crime scenes. There are actually many parallels between these two movies. Not only is the poster of Nightcrawler an obvious homage to Taxi Driver, both characters are also very ambitious and goal-oriented men that are capable of doing anything, and I mean anything, to eventually reach their end goal. Lou lives in modern-day LA in a time where everyone is obsessed with personal gain and success. This causes him to create a form of predatory masculinity, hunting down his prey like a lone wolf every night in order to film the crime scenes and sell them to the news stations. His greed is good mentality makes him persistent and uses this to become the top predator in his business. He is kind and respectful for the sake of social acceptance, but very narcissistic and tunnel-visioned for his own financial gain. Lou Bloom literally goes to that animal state of masculinity and releases the beast within man. He even looks like a hungry predator that uses his manipulative instincts to trap and catch his prey. Similarly, Travis Bickle drives around the dangerous and dirty streets of New York City at night. Travis is a forgotten and ignored victim of the working class through the rise of capitalism in big cities. One day he hopes to clean it all up and become the hero of the city.
All the animals come out at night. Someday a real rain will come and wash all the scum off the streets.
Travis feels lost by the city life, and after getting rejected by Betsy, he starts to cut and paste together what he believes is a masculine, heroic identity. He starts training like a soldier, handling guns like a cowboy, and dressing up like a veteran. All pop cultural elements that form his idea of a hyper-masculine hero that'll be there for the people. But in reality, he starts to become ultra-violent and reckless. This hypermasculinity is one that relies on ancient ideas of heroic behaviors, such as being a knight or cowboy that rescues princesses and fights the bad guys, which makes Travis live a life between fact and fiction.
Walking contradiction.
You saying that about me?
Well, who else would I be talking about?
Travis gets caught up in this duality of a man, which is slowly sending him down the wrong path. This brings us to the movie Drive, because similar to Taxi Driver, it involves the notion of portraying the masculinity of a hero versus being a real hero. The driver is a stuntman and mechanic by day, but at night he works as an independent getaway driver for criminals. A stunt driver's job is to literally maintain the illusion of the hero in a fictional film, and the driver therefore spends a good time of his life pretending to be a hero. In an interview, Ryan Gosling adds, "I think Driver is somebody who's seen too many movies, and he's made himself the hero of his own action film. He's just kind of lost in the mythology of Hollywood." But as soon as the driver meets the perfect girl, Irene, it gets very interesting, and the crossover between Travis Bickle becomes more apparent. The driver starts to feel pressure because of his contradictory lifestyle. On the one hand, he doesn't want to take part in the patriarchy of the criminal world and chooses to be a silent, emotionless, and nameless character. On the other hand, he's repressing his humanity, but meeting with Irene is his way of reclaiming it. However, it's not that easy to escape from the criminal world.
My hands are a little dirty. So am I.
Just like Travis Bickle, who is surrounded by impure and evil beings, becomes obsessed with saving a 12-year-old prostitute named Iris, the driver feels a sense of protectiveness for Irene as well, and will do everything, even resorting to extreme violence, to protect Irene and her child. Because it is exactly that purity and innocence that both of these characters have lost, that they are now trying to rescue and protect. Where Travis Bickle and the driver differ is that Travis wants to leave his mark on this world, but the driver just wants to be happy, and the same for his loved ones. However, They both have the opportunity to become a real hero as opposed to being only a faceless and imaginary one. But as suggested with the lyrics of the soundtrack in Drive, a real hero is also a real human being. And that's something all of these characters have lost on the way. Patrick Bateman's obsession with trying to fit in caused him to express himself in extreme manners, and in the end made him lose touch with humanity.
I had to. She almost got away. I mean, I guess I'm a pretty sick guy.
Fight Club turned into a self-operating group with a cult following that now wants to overthrow all power structures in society, caused by the narrator's alter ego. Lou Bloom's mind is poisoned by capitalist society, and the media turned him into a beast, leaving every moral code for the sake of money. In the end, Taxi Driver's past serving in the Vietnam War combined with his insomnia causes him to lose touch with reality and leads to his descent into madness. And the driver, well, maybe he is the real hero after all, but his suppressed emotions alienated him so much that in the end he had to sacrifice everything he had fought for. All of these movies delve into the crisis of masculinity caused by conformity in a capitalist and consumerist world. It only makes perfect sense that young men who are navigating through the world would find solace in watching these movies, as it represents an extreme example of what they experience on a day-to-day basis. This may seem unhealthy to some, but it offers men a piece of media that they can hold close, in a world that so often shies away from representing these topics in a way that isn't explicitly villainizing.
Shit, you're a real cowboy. That's nice, man.
So to come back to my first question, what is masculinity in the modern age? Well, they often say reject modernity and embrace masculinity, but that is only as long as you can maintain your humanity.
You look lonely.
Martin Scorsese's Raging Bull is considered a masterpiece by many, and an enigma by others. What's to like about a film that is a black and white tragedy with extremely unlikable characters? Too many people go into this movie thinking that they're going to get something different. We have all the Rocky comparisons to thank for that. While Rocky has its merits as a great underdog story, Raging Bull is much more oriented at exploring the darker elements of masculinity and human psychology. I think one of the reasons why Raging Bull is so celebrated is because it's one of the most honest portrayals of what it means to be a man ever committed to film. I'll try to explain Martin Scorsese's postmodern cinematic style and how he used it to capture a perfect depiction of a savage. Jake LaMotta is portrayed by Robert De Niro as a primitive beast. His self-destructive violence, abusive language, and aggressive antics paint him as a rabid animal. The decline and fall of Jake LaMotta provides a pretext for the playing out of a number of anxieties about the irrecoverability of the past. His collapse into impotence plays out a scenario which evokes profound loss. Loss of a great classic cinema, of community values, of family life, of a sense of individuality. A tragic scenario in which the hero's suffering teaches us something about our own life, and how to accept its terms. One of the reasons why De Niro's performance is so compelling is because of LaMotta's short temper. We never know when he's going to explode in a fit of rage. LaMotta's violence is a direct result of his insecurity. The constant need to prove himself to others impedes on the quality of his life on a daily basis. It's interesting that feminist film critics have pointed out that they think Raging Bull is an explicit statement of a radical critique of masculinity and the inherent violence that surrounds it. In one of the best edited scenes in cinema history, LaMotta atones for his sins the only way he knows how, through sacrificial violence. Scorsese's religious imagery is apparent when Jake lays back on the ropes, similar to Christ's crucifixion.
Jake wouldn't want to quit. He wanted to go.
Hey, Ray. Never went down, Ray. You never got me down, Ray. You hear me? Never got me down.